dress up to come to see Jesus, you ought to just come on to him. Give him your hand and tell him all about your trouble. You ought to tell God just how you are. We ought to be able to praise his name, church. You ought to give God your hand. Praise him in the morning, all day long. Praise him on your job, all the way home. Praise him, children. Praise him every day. Oh, just praise my God. Listen.
As we are.
Don't just praise him when you're happy, or when you sad. I came to Jesus, I gave him my hand.
We're gonna praise.
You ought to get out there and give Jesus your hand. You ought to come down the hall and march and tell Jesus, here's my hand. I'm willing to follow you all the way, Jesus. Give him your hand, church. I came to Jesus a long time ago. Oh yeah. I was weary, wounded and sad.
We're gonna praise.
I found in him a blessing place, and he had made me glad.
Praise him.
Let me tell you something, church. You may be a drug addict, you may be a prostitute, but you ought to come to Jesus and give him your hand. You may be lying on your bed affliction, but you ought to raise your hand and give it to Jesus. Just come to
We're
him.
gonna praise.
Wait a minute, let me tell you this. You may be out in the street shooting dice. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing tonight, but you ought to come to my Jesus and give him your hand and say, Father, I'm willing to follow you. Because if you put off today,
Praise him.
tomorrow may be a little too late. I don't know, church,
Praise him.
but I'm going to tell you something right now. Oh, somebody, somewhere, they're walking the streets,
Praise him.
they're drinking alcohol.
Praise him.
They may be a drug addict too. I don't know, but I'm coming to tell you to give him your hand. Listen, listen. You ought to take a little time and talk to Jesus
Praise him.
while you're bowing on your knees.
Praise him.
You ought to say, Father, I'm willing to give you my hand. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in the world for you, to follow you all the way. Oh, Lord, give him your hand tonight, church. Pastor, you ought to